Luton Town have today confirmed the signing of former Bradford City loanee Harrison Ashby, and in today's video we're going to be speaking about my thoughts on this move. If you do go on to enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes on today's video, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Luton fans, Bradford fans, Newcastle fans, let me know all your thoughts down below. Think it's a bit of an interesting one, not a deal that I'm entirely convinced on, but we'll break it down in today's video. So let's get straight into it. Now obviously Luton had a fantastic ending to last season. It wasn't quite enough in the end. They ended up missing out on the playoffs by just a single point, but the form in 2026 was very strong under Jack Wilshere. I think away from home was a big problem for them for quite a long time, but towards the latter stage of the season they really sorted themselves out. They were beating everybody at home, it seemed, and they were picking up some good results on the road as well. So going into next season, I think early doors would suggest that them, Plymouth, those type of teams you'd expect to do very well in League One next season if there's not a massive turnover of them losing their best players. And we already know that Luton have kept hold of midfielder Jordan Clark. Casey Palmer has returned to the club as well, and I think that's some really good business that Luton have done, but this one I'm just not really convinced on. The Luton article does then read, Harrison's happy to be a Hatter. Nice little modern day tongue twister. Harrison Ashby has become our third new signing of the summer, joining the Hatters on a season-long loan from Premier League club at Newcastle United. The 24-year-old right-back began his career at West Ham United, where he made 7 first-team appearances before joining the Magpies in 2023. He arrives at Kenilworth Road, having gained EFL experience during loans with Championship clubs Swansea City and QPR, and in the second half of last season with Bradford City, where he helped. I think helped is a very loose term. The Bantams reached the League One playoffs under former Town fullback Graham Alexander. Manager Jack Wilshere said, I was playing alongside Harrison for West Ham when he made his debut, and you can tell that he had something. Technically he was always clean and he was very young then, but physically he was good. I kept an eye on him going to Newcastle because Eddie Howe is someone I worked with and a coach that I respect, so I always thought that'd be good for him. It probably hasn't quite worked out for him how he wanted it to, but Eddie has definitely done a good job of developing him as a player, but also as a person. He's grown up so much. He's someone I see who can fit straight into this group and help us on the pitch. Going out on his loans in the Championship and League One has probably helped him grow up a lot as well. Harrison is a good footballer and always has been, but he had to go out and learn the other side of it. He was at Bradford last year, so he understands the league, and he says he loved his loan there. That tells me he's someone that buys into a coach, a way of playing, and a way of working with a good attitude that we need right now. Speaking about how the move came about, former Scotland under-21 international Ashby said, it was rather quick in the making. I'm quite used to going out on loan at the end of the window, so it's nice getting something in early. I'll be with the lads for a full pre-season, which will help me getting to know everyone and helping the club. My first chat with Jack really sold the move to me. Obviously Jack Wilshere, the gaffer, calling him Jack's probably not the best thing to do, but being with him at West Ham, it was a bit of a little reunion for us, and after 5 minutes I said to my agent, yes, I want to be there. I'm pretty sure he said the exact same thing when he signed for Bradford, to be honest with you. He's clearly very well media trained. It wasn't really that hard a decision. The main thing is that he knows what kind of character I am already, and he knows what kind of player I am as well, so I think straight away the philosophy matches my playing style, which is perfect for me, and I think I can slot into the team and help them straight away. Luton is a massive club and always has been. It's a joy to get it over the line now. I'm hoping to help the team get up to where we need to be. Welcome to Luton Town, Harrison. Now obviously Ashby spent the second half of last season out on loan at my team Bradford City, and he obviously came into play as a right wing back in Graham Alexander's 3-4-2-1 system, and I think it was unlikely he was ever going to really break into the team on a consistent enough basis. Josh Nerfill is around a similar age and he's our player, and he's somebody that we see a lot of upside in, and one day being sold for hopefully a 7-figure sum. So Nerfill was always the plan to play a lot of football. Harrison Ashby came in as a replacement to Brad Halliday, who I think had been at the club for 3.5 seasons by January. Obviously he did move on in the January and signed for Scottish Premiership side at Dundee FC. So Ashby had some strong boots to replace. I think Halliday was always a consistent player, even at League One level. He knew what his limitations were, but he was pretty strong around that December sort of time, and obviously he was well liked amongst the fans fan base because he was someone that always gave it 110%. So I feel like with those type of players that are coming in and replacing very well liked players, in some cases legends, I'm not quite sure it goes that far with Brad Halliday, but certainly a very well liked and very well respected player at Bradford City. And it was always going to be a little bit tough for Ashby, and we saw in, I think, his first cameo on off the bench home to Cardiff, where he looked like he had a little bit about him, but then he started away at Lincoln and we got battered 3-0 that day, and he just never really kicked on in Bradford City colours. There was a couple of times where he was awful defensively, really, and that is my big concern about this, where he got exposed quite a lot playing as a right wing back in a back three, back five. So how is he going to cope in a back four at Luton? I'm not really sure, but Luton have also had the likes of Isaiah Jones play as a right back quite a lot recently, and obviously he is more traditionally a winger, even more attacking than Harrison Ashby, but obviously Jones has got that recovery pace about him. Ashby, I wouldn't really say does. When you have a look at the final few games that Luton played last season, away at Bolton on the final day, winger, traditionally Isaiah Jones played as a right back. Even in the game previous to that one at home to Barnsley, Isaiah Jones played as a right back, and they also had Nigel Longwick play as a right back in the game away at Mansfield Town, I want to say. So it's obviously good to have versatility, good to have different types of profiles in there, but Ashby's not a player that I can see really going in at Luton and playing loads of football next season. I do think he'll be there as a backup, and then where does his career really go from there? Because obviously it's only a loan. There's not necessarily that commitment from Luton to, spend money on him, bring him in for a transfer fee and really try and develop him as a player. But obviously looking at Ashby's time at Bradford City last season, in total he did make 8 appearances, but only 2 of those were starts, so he played just shy of 300 minutes. Obviously failed to register a goal contribution, but I think his biggest positive that he contributed in a Bradford City shirt, if you go look at our highlights away at Wycombe Wanderers, he plays a fantastic through ball which eventually leads to our equalising goal. Humphrey should do a little bit better with the one-on-one, but that was the only real positive moment that Ashby had in a Bradford City shirt. I would then also go tell you to look at the highlights away at Wigan Athletic, where we defeated 2-0. Really does not cover himself in any glory for their second goal. And then you look at our 2-2 draw away at 10-man Barnsley, where he switches off and gets caught out of position because he's simply not a right back. Defensively, he has a lot of work to do. Going forward, he's a pretty decent player, can beat his man 1v1. His end product, getting balls into the box, is certainly not the worst thing in the world, but I think defensively is where he really could let Luton down a little bit next season, in my opinion. But he has a 77% accurate pass rate, 22% accurate pass rate. Defensively, pretty strong actually, to be fair. His stats do look pretty good. No clean sheets kept, but 0.4 interceptions per game, 1.5 tackles per game, 3.9 balls recovered per game, and 1.3 clearances per game as well. He won 57% of his ground duels with a 64% successful dribble rate, and looking at this you would assume that he didn't have a single aerial duel in his time at Bradford City. Wasn't offside, was fouled more than gave fouls away per game as well. So I think going forward he's certainly going to contribute quite a lot to a Luton side that you'd expect to be challenging in and around that top 6, top 2 for next season, but defensively he could get caught out a little bit. But I guess Luton have got some really strong centre-halves in there, so obviously Jack Wilshere knows him very well from his time at West Ham, but he is now in his mid-20s and I think he needs to be finding himself a home, and if he has another season at Luton, which is very likely that he doesn't play that much first team football, then where does he go from there? He had 2 loan spells to the Championship, then 2 loan spells to League 1. Does he then get a loan spell to League 2 or go there on a permanent deal? I'm not sure how long's left on his deal with Newcastle, but this loan spell has to work for him at Luton, and there's a lot of pressure because there's a lot of pressure on them to get promoted this season. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes as I said at the start of today's video, and don't forget to get your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below what are your thoughts on Luton Town signing former Bradford City loanee Harrison Ashby on a season long loan. Thank you all for watching, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.